Here to shake the matrix, expand our minds, and make us all think. I'm glitching out the Wi Fi this morning, so I'm going to do my best to not have my hands out. Apparently, I've been screwing up the electronics. But welcome, everyone. How are you guys all doing? It is good to be here this morning, and hopefully, you're doing great too. So, it doesn't matter what time you're watching this, time is just a construct that we created. You're here now because you're ready to remember. So we're going to talk about the kingdom within. And it's day 2, the system of separation and the return of connection. So before we begin, let's take a deep breath together. And just let your shoulders fall. Let the noise settle for just a moment. You know, you don't have to prove anything in this space. That's the beautiful thing. And good morning, Ascension. How's it going? And you don't have to agree with every word I even say. That's the one thing. Thanks. That gets you. But this morning, I really want to invite you to just become present. We're going to ask a question that can actually change the way we see life even. Religion, spirituality, science, fear, society, and ourselves. And the question is this: what if the place we have been searching for is not only somewhere above, maybe it's not even above at all, we just think it is. It's beyond us. And it's not something we go after death, but it's something that is within us and always has been within us. Good morning, T2. Do you feel it? Yeah, I do. So what if the kingdom is within? What if awakening is within? What if peace is within? What if the doorway to God, truth, source, the divine consciousness, healing, and freedom is not found by running farther away from yourself, but by coming home to yourself? I mean, put this into context is if you feel this. Put it in a comment. The kingdom has always been within. So last time we talked about what if creation is bigger than we were taught. We explored ancient waters, creation stories, agnostic questions, visions, science. That reality may and is larger than a small box that we inherited. But today we're asking something even deeper. If the kingdom is within, then what keeps us from seeing it? What is it? Why are people so afraid? And why are we so divided in this world? And why are we so bloody well distracted? And why are we always searching outside of ourselves for the very thing we have been called to awaken inside? See, maybe that is what people mean when they talk about the matrix, you know? Beyond the pain of the ego, the I am exists 100%. Not necessarily a literal computer code running the universe. That's not what I'm talking about. But but a hidden group, not necessarily a hidden group controlling every single event, but a system of fear, conditioning, distraction, division, and false identity that teaches us to forget who we are. See, that's the matrix of separation. And let's be clear. Real systems shape our lives. Families shape us. Schools shape us. Churches shape us. News shapes us. Money shapes us. Work shapes us. Social media shapes us. Algorithm shapes us. Politics shapes us. Trauma shapes us. The words spoken over us as children shaped us. And the things we had to survive shapes us. And the people who loved us or did not love us have shaped us. That does not mean every school, is then every circumstance and everything that we went through was evil. but it shaped us. It programmed us. It controlled us. It manipulated us. It does not mean, and I'm not saying that everything is evil. But what I'm saying is that doctors controlled us. Churches controlled us. The system controlled us. But it doesn't mean it has to continue to control us. We've allowed it to control us by forgetting who we are. If we never stop to observe what is shaping us, then we can spend our whole lives living someone else's program and someone else's identity and someone else's idea of your life. Trust me, I did it my whole life. Looking for that acceptance, that approval. And I was the one to give it to myself the whole time. And you can believe things you were never examined. You can fear things you never investigate. And you can hate people you never meet. And you can repeat wounds that were handed to you. It is your choice at the end of the day now, isn't it? You can call yourself free while every choice is being made from fear. See, the matrix is not first outside of you. The matrix begins when something outside of you becomes louder than the truth within you. And the matrix begins when fear becomes your teacher. See, the matrix begins when you forgot that you have a mind, a conscience, a body, a spirit, and the ability to pause and think about what's being examined and handed to you. The matrix begins when you stop asking, is this even true? Who benefits if I believe this? Is this fear mine, or was it handed to me? The wound is the place where the light enters you, 100%. Is this God speaking, or is this shame speaking? Is this wisdom, or is this control? Fear can protect us, but fear is a natural human response to danger, but fear becomes a prison when it runs every part of our lives. Fear says, do not question, do not slow down, and you do not listen. You do not forgive, and you do not heal, and you do not trust anyone. Stay angry, stay distracted, but love says this. Love says breathe. Breathe and observe, ask and listen. Heal. Take responsibility and see the human being in front of you. Return to what is real. The kingdom within or among. Let's go to the words of Yeshua. He said in Luke 17, 20, 21, people ask about the coming of the kingdom of God. And Yeshua says that people will not be able to point and say, look, here it is, or there it is, because the kingdom of God is antros hamon, means within you. The inward reality. See, the kingdom can be within you and it can be among us. Because see, it's in you. And then when I'm with you, you are among us. It's an inner awakening and a way of living with one another. It can be it's a personal transformation and collective transformation. Because the kingdom is not only inside of me, but it is inside of you. So therefore, why care about the suffering outside of me? Well, because you care. Because guess what? That kingdom is also inside of you. So you care. Because if you don't care, then you've missed the kingdom. But see, what you got to care about is the being. We're not saying care about the distractions. If I talk about justice outside of me, but never heal the fear, hatred, and violence inside of me, then I have missed the kingdom within. The kingdom is among. The kingdom is not a location you own. The kingdom is not a building. The kingdom is not a denomination. The kingdom is not a brand. The kingdom is not a politician. The kingdom is not a secret club. And the kingdom is a way of being, a way of seeing, a way of loving, a way of becoming free from the false self. You are God's dignity, not ego. And we come to John 10:34, which says, "It is not written in your laws, but I said you are all God's." So what if human beings carry a dignity that fear has made us forget? What if the image of God within us is not an excuse for ego, but a call to responsibility? If you are sacred, then your neighbor is sacred. And who is your neighbor? Everybody. If you are sacred, then the person you disagree with is sacred. If you are sacred, then the child is sacred. The elder is sacred. The poor are sacred. The wounded are sacred. The person who does not look like you is sacred. The earth is sacred. And if you carry divine breath, then you cannot keep using your breath to destroy other people. I am a God, so I am better than you. That's not what the point is. The point is, there is something divine in life, and I have a responsibility to honor it. Every path points inward. Now, I want to travel across spiritual traditions, not pretend all religions are identical, because they are not. Their histories, practices, beliefs, and understandings of God differ in different ways. But I want to show a pattern that we have amongst all of them. Again and again, people across the world have discovered that transformation is not found only by a collective belief outside yourself, but it involves inner work. It involves the heart. It involves compassion. It involves surrender to the false self. It involves remembering our connection to something greater. You see, in Christianity, Yeshua speaks about the kingdom not arriving as something people can point at from outside. The Christian contemplative tradition speaks of prayer, silence, repentance, love, humility, and union with God. In Judaism, there is a Shema, listening deeply, loving God with the heart, soul, and strength. There are traditions of prayer, ethical actions, studies, wrestling with God, and remembering the sacred in daily life. In Islam, the word Islam speaks of surrender to God. Sufi teachers often speak of about polishing the heart, dissolving the ego, illusions of separation, and remembering divine nearness through love and remembrance and devotion. You see, the Hindu traditions and the Upanishad ask profound questions about Atman, the deep self, and the Brahman, and the Adam and El reality, as different Hindu schools understand that the relationship differently, but the inward search is central. Who am I beneath the surface of personality, role, fear, and desire? And in Buddhism, there is no command to worship a creator, God, in the same way as Abrahamic traditions, but there is a deep inward investigation. Observe in mind, recognize craving and suffering, cultivate compassion, and awaken from ignorance. In Daoism, the Dao is not something you can possess or force. It is the way, the deeper order of reality. The invitation is to stop fighting life through ego and learn to move in harmony with the way. In indigenous and the earth-centered spiritualism, there is often an emphasis on relationship with the land, ancestors, animals, waters, seasons, community, and the living world. The sacred is not merely in a distant heaven. It is encountered through reciprocity and respect in the web of life. Different traditions are not identical. They should be honored on their own terms. But across many paths, a similar invitation appears: is slow down and become present, become and purify the heart, release ego, practice compassion, and remember connection. Do not let fear rule you. That is not coincidence. That is humanity repeatedly discovering that the outer world cannot save a person who refuses to look within. Even the Gnostic language is forgetting and remembering. The Gnostic writings give us another language for this. It's that ancient Gnostic texts speak about humanity being asleep. We're trapped in ignorance, caught in a world of confusion and need of the gnosis is direct knowing. It's not merely information, not merely a religious label, not merely something else telling you what God is, but awakening and remembering and seeing. See, in the stories, in the Gnostic stories, the archons are rulers or powers that keep humanity in blindness. Some people take that as language literally, and others see it as psychological and political symbols in it. We're seeing it in today's way. For instance, what if the archons are also inside of us? What if the archon is the inner voice of shame? What if the archon is the inherited trauma? What if the archon is the addiction that tells you that you cannot live without, with what is hurting you? What if the archons is the constant need for validation, looking for someone to give you that, it's okay, for that acceptance? But what if the archon is the fear that says you are not worthy of love? What if the archon is a system that makes you believe you are a consumer before you are a soul? What if the archon is the voice that says stay divided, stay angry, stay asleep, stay afraid? Then awakening is not about obsessively hunting an external enemy. Awakening is learning to recognize the forces that move through you without conscious consent, and then choosing differently. That is the return. That is the remembering. That is the kingdom within. Science, mystery, and humility. Now, some people bring quantum physics into the conversation and we can speak about it, but we have, we got to look at this too, as quantum physics has been telling us that reality at its very small scale does not always behave the way ordinary human intuition expects. Is transform our understanding of matter, energy, measurements, and probability. And we're seeing it in our science. That there's more life within it. The internal projects the external. And spirituality at its best does not say stop thinking. And if it does, then you should be running from it. But what it says is become awake enough to see through fear, ego, and illusion. We need both. We need to wonder and wisdom. We need intuition and evidence. And we need ancient stories and careful interpretation. And we need to understand that all of them are saying one thing. The kingdom is within. And even look at all these people with near-death experiences. They speak of the things that changed them. They speak of love. They speak of light. They speak of peace. They speak about being outside of the body, and they speak about life reviews, and they speak about coming back, and they're not the same. They come back with a deeper sense, and their choices matter, and they speak about returning less afraid of death and more aware of the importance of compassion and seeing that we are one consciousness. These experiences are intensely real for people that their families don't even know what to do with them when they're there. But the thing is, maybe we ought to pay attention when a person comes back saying, love people, forgive, we are one. Do not waste your life in fear. You are more connected than you think. Your choices matter. Let's look at this world and the slavery it gives us. We've been slaves to our own the phone attention, the modern slavery. Let's talk about distraction. We live in a time when we can carry the world in our pocket now. But the same device that gives us access to wisdom can also drain our attention. The same device that connects us, that can make us compare ourselves constantly. The same device can teach us, can keep us in outrage. And the same device that can keep us find this community can also make us feel isolated. Again, does it make this phone and these things the evil thing, or does it make it, the technology or everything, the evil thing, or does it make it down to the responsibility of the one who has it in their hand? Realize our attention is sacred, and we can waste it on the external things, or we can pay attention to the internal. I mean, if you are always reacting, you are easier to lead. And if you are always afraid, you are easier to sell to. And if you are always comparing, you are easier to manipulate. And if you are always divided, you are less likely to see your shared humanity. Even algorithm does this to us. It does not have to be a conscious demon for it to reward fear, outrage, and emotional intensity. Systems that compete for attention often promote what keeps people watching. So ask yourself, what am I feeding my mind? What does my nervous system feel like after I scroll? And am I becoming more loving, more informed, more grounded, more connected? Or am I becoming more afraid, more angry, more hopeless, and more disconnected from my actual life? See, the kingdom within requires attention. You cannot hear your soul if the noise never stops. You cannot recognize peace if your nervous system never rests. And you cannot remember connection if you are constantly trained to compare yourself to everybody else. Sometimes spiritual warfare looks like putting the phone down. Sometimes awakening looks like going outside, and sometimes liberation looks like drinking water, breathing slowly, sleeping, praying, journaling, awakening, laughing, crying, getting help, choosing not to respond to every trigger. You know? And that is not small, that is revolutionary. Return to your original design. What is your original design? It's the divine spark within. And how do we get there? The kingdom within. We must face our deepest fears and face the dark beliefs that we believe and tell ourselves the truth. We were designed to connect. Connection to breathe, connection to the earth, connection to our bodies, connection to one another, connection to truth, and connection to the sacred. So think about nature, because it does not exist alone. It needs soil, needs water, needs sunlight, needs fungi, insects, seasons, and it needs a whole living system. And the human beings are no different. We're not designed to live disconnected from our bodies. We were not designed to hate one another. We were not designed to be isolated, overstimulated, exhausted, afraid, and ashamed of all the time. We were not designed to treat the earth as a thing to be used and discarded. We were not designed to live only for productivity, and we were not designed to confuse survival with life. We were designed to belong. And separation is the wound. See, the illusion says you are alone. But love says you belong. The illusion says you must defeat everyone else, but love says your freedom is connected to the freedom of others. And the illusion says you are only what happened to you, but love says you can heal, grow, and choose what comes next. The illusion says God is far away, but the kingdom whispers, be still, return, listen. Closely, and understand this. That divine, that is the I am that I am. And that's you. The place within is where the kingdom is. It has always been within you and amongst you. It is in the breath before you react. It is in the moment you choose truth over fear. It is in the moment you see a human being instead of a label. It is the moment you stop repeating the wound that hurt you. It is the moment you question a belief that makes you hate. It is the moment you return to your body. And it is the moment you sit beneath the trees and remember you are part of life. It is in the moment you forgive yourself for being human. It is in the moment you use your voice to bring healing instead of division. The way out is not through more fear. The way out is through awareness. The way out is through love. The way out is through responsibility. The way out is through healing. The way out is through connection. You do not have to solve every ancient mystery to awaken. You do not have to prove every theory to become free. You do not have to defeat an imagined enemy to reclaim your life. You begin by returning within. So say this with me. I begin by returning within. I return to the kingdom within. Say that. I return to the kingdom within, and I release fear and choose awareness. I choose connection over separation. I choose wonder with wisdom. The kingdom is not somewhere you go after death. The kingdom is a way you live before death. The place is within. And the moment you remember that, the system of fear begins to lose its power. The kingdom is within. Period. I will no longer repair this ego to suffer again. Dang straight, brother. That's so awesome. All right.